Computer models just lit up with something forecasters haven't seen in years. Multiple major snowstorms, deep south snow, Arctic blasts, and a jet stream pattern that could bury cities under feet of snow between now and New Year's. The question isn't if winter will arrive anymore. The question is, are you ready for what's coming in the next 10 days? Stay with me for 30 seconds and I'll reveal the 3 critical dates when these storms hit, why the Deep South is now in play for significant snow, and the one thing you must do tonight to protect your family. Right now, the European weather model is showing something meteorologists call a Deep South snow event. Tuesday, December 30th at 1 a.m., snow begins falling across Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Not flurries. Heavy snow, 2 to 6 inches across a massive area. Parts of Alabama and Georgia could see 6 to 10 inches. Atlanta in the bullseye. Here's your 30-second reward. December 26th, December 30th, and January 5th. These 3 dates mark when major winter storms could impact over 100 million Americans. But the most shocking part? The Deep South snow on December 30th is just the first model run showing this. 24 hours ago, no models predicted this. Now it's there. That means the pattern is shifting faster than forecast. Before I show you the exact snowfall maps, understand this. When models suddenly agree on something they weren't showing yesterday, pay attention. That's not noise. That's signal. But why is this happening now? The answer at minute 5 will explain the atmospheric puzzle pieces that haven't aligned like this since the winter of 2014. And if you remember that winter, you know what I'm talking about. While you've been preparing for Christmas, the atmosphere has been reorganizing itself. A southern jet stream, carrying moisture from the Pacific Ocean, is about to collide with Arctic air diving south from Canada. When warm moisture meets extreme cold, snow happens. Heavy snow? The European model shows this deep south system moving from Oklahoma through Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, into the Carolinas. A low-pressure system positioned just offshore of Jacksonville, Florida. As it intensifies, some areas transition to freezing rain by Wednesday morning. That's worse than snow. Ice on top of snow creates impossible travel conditions. Proverbs chapter 25 verse 13 says, "Like a snow-cooled drink at harvest time is a trustworthy messenger to the one who sends him." Snow serves purpose in God's creation. It waters the earth. It purifies the landscape. But it also tests our preparation and community bonds. The snowfall totals on this first model run show 2 to 6 inches across Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. The bullseye, those purple colors on weather maps, indicates 6 inches or more across central Alabama and northern Georgia. This is the first time this particular model has shown this system. But the ingredients have been visible for days. The southern jet activating, Arctic air building in Canada. The timing aligning after Christmas when cold air can finally surge south. But here's the twist nobody expected. This isn't the only major snowstorm in the forecast. The Northeast gets hit twice, once on December 26th, the day after Christmas, again on December 30th. If you're traveling for Christmas through Pennsylvania, New York, or New England, listen carefully. You might deal with snow getting there. Then another storm when you're trying to get home. Double disruption. The December 26th system brings 2 to 6 inches to northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, New York City, upstate New York, and southern New England. Boston could see 3 inches. Parts of Maine close to 10 inches. But wait, there's more. And this is where it gets dangerous. Freezing rain on top of accumulated snow. That creates an ice layer that makes roads impassable and brings down power lines. The model shows significant ice accumulation across West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, and parts of New England. Think about this scenario. Snow accumulates, roads are slippery but passable. Then freezing rain falls on top. Now you have ice covering snow, vehicles can't get traction, tree branches weighted with ice snap, power lines fail. That's a high-impact event. The best part is at 3 minutes 20 seconds. And here it is. The jet stream pattern finally makes sense when you see it in motion. For weeks, the southern jet has been racing across the country so fast that warm Pacific air floods the central United States. That's why Christmas will be record warm for many areas, temperatures 20 to 40 degrees above normal. People wearing shorts to Christmas dinner in the Midwest, no joke, but speed cuts both ways. A fast jet stream prevents cold air from settling in. It also prevents storms from organizing. We've had warmth, but not big storms. That changes when the jet stream gets wavy instead of straight. Around December 29th, the model shows the jet stream developing massive waves. The southern branch carrying moisture pulls northward. The northern branch carrying cold air dives south through the Midwest. When these two combine, that's when major winter storms develop. This is atmospheric physics, not guesswork. When jets phase together with Arctic air present, significant snowfall becomes likely across large areas. Now, here's the 5-minute promise I made. Why this pattern hasn't aligned like this since 2014. Multiple factors have to cooperate simultaneously. Cold air in Canada, check. Southern jet stream carrying moisture, check. Pacific atmospheric river weakening enough to allow a western ridge to build. That's the missing piece that's finally showing up. The Pacific has been uncooperative all month. Strong southern jet, yes, but no western ridge to redirect flow. Without that ridge, cold air can't push south effectively. The European model shows a modest ridge building around Sunday, December 28th. Not huge, but enough. Everything happening in the Arctic, eastern Canada, Greenland, Iceland, all favors cold air moving into the eastern United States. The Pacific is the only area not fully cooperating. That's why this pattern is shorter-lived and not as intense as it could be. But it's enough. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 reminds us, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." We're entering the season when winter historically dominates. Late December into January is climatologically the coldest period for most of America. Let me show you something fascinating about atmospheric rivers that most people don't understand. An atmospheric river is literally a river of moisture in the sky. Imagine the Mississippi River, but 7 miles up, carrying water vapor instead of liquid water. These rivers can be over 1,000 miles long and several hundred miles wide. When they make landfall, they dump incredible amounts of precipitation. The West Coast is getting hammered by one right now. Feet of snow in the mountains, heavy rain at lower elevations. This continues through Christmas and beyond. The Cascades, Sierra Nevada, Rockies, all seeing epic snowfall. Ski resorts are ecstatic, but travel is treacherous. Interstate 80 through the Sierra Nevada will require chains continuously. Interstate 5 could close periodically. If you're traveling to California for Christmas, this is critical information. Have backup plans. Here's a detail most forecasts won't tell you. That atmospheric river is actually helping create the pattern that brings snow to the east. How? By forcing the jet stream to buckle. The river pushes moisture into the west. That creates a ridge downstream. The ridge redirects flow. Cold air spills south into the east. Everything is connected in the atmosphere. What happens in the Pacific affects the Midwest 3 days later. What happens in Siberia affects Texas 2 weeks later. It's a global system. Don't miss what's coming next. Because the December 30th deep south snow is just one piece of a larger pattern. The European weekly model, one of the most reliable long-range tools available, shows something remarkable for January. Not just cold, sustained cold. The kind that lasts weeks, not days. First week of January, warmth still dominates central states despite brief Arctic shots. Why? Because when you average warm days and cold days together, warmth wins mathematically. A day that's 40 degrees above normal outweighs a day that's 15 degrees below normal. But second week of January, January 7th through 14th, blue colors appear on the temperature maps. Blue means below normal. For long-range models to show cold 2 to 3 weeks in advance is significant. These models usually struggle to predict cold until it's much closer. Mid to late January, the signal strengthens, colder and colder. Not just the Northeast, the entire eastern half of the country. This could extend into February based on current model guidance. What's driving this? The transition from La Niña toward neutral conditions. La Niña is when Pacific Ocean temperatures are cooler than normal in specific regions. El Niño is warmer than normal. Neutral is in between. Historically, neutral winters are the best for sustained cold and snow in the eastern United States. We're transitioning toward neutral right now. That's the #1 reason these long-range models show increasing cold as winter progresses. God's creation operates in cycles. Ocean temperatures cycle between warm, cool, and neutral over years. The jet stream oscillates between different patterns over weeks. Understanding these cycles helps us anticipate what's coming rather than being surprised. Now, let me walk you through the specific timeline so you know exactly when to be most alert. Sunday, December 21st. Today, we're in a brief trough pattern over the northeast. Ridge in the west. This trough brings snow to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and New England over the next couple days. Not major, but enough to create some Christmas Eve snow for parts of the region. Monday, December 22nd into Tuesday the 23rd, snow continues across the Northeast while the West Coast gets pounded by rain and mountain snow. The jet stream remains fast and progressive. No major storms yet. Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. Strong storminess along the entire West Coast, from Los Angeles through California into the Pacific Northwest. Lower elevations see heavy rain. High elevations see intense snowfall measured in feet. This is the atmospheric river at peak intensity. Thursday, December 25th, Christmas Day. The strongest southern jet of the month pours warm, humid air from the Pacific straight into central and southeastern states. This is why Christmas will be exceptionally warm. Not just mild, warm enough for outdoor activities in December that usually require coats. Enjoy it. Seriously. Isaiah chapter 55 verse 12 says, "You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into song before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands." If God provides warm Christmas weather, receive it with gratitude. Friday, December 26th, the first major disruption begins. An impactful winter storm affects the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. This brings snowfall and freezing rain to Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and surrounding areas. Travelers heading home after Christmas face difficult conditions. Saturday, December 27th. Freezing rain and snow continue across Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Roads remain hazardous. This is when the Arctic air mass begins building in Canada, preparing to surge south. Sunday, December 28th. A modest ridge develops in the west. Not huge, but enough to redirect flow. The trough moves into the east. Cold air starts pouring south. This sets up the December 30th Deep South Snow event. Monday, December 29th, the jet streams begin phasing. Southern moisture meets northern cold. Models show this as a critical date to watch. When jets combine over the east with Arctic air present, major snow becomes likely. Tuesday, December 30th, the Deep South Snow System develops according to current European model guidance. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Carolinas all potentially impacted. 2 to 6 inches widespread, 6 to 10 inches in the bullseye. Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, the system moves offshore but could still affect coastal areas. The Northeast gets snow again as a separate system moves through. Multiple feet possible in parts of New England if everything aligns. That's 10 days of intense weather across the country, multiple regions affected, millions of travelers disrupted. But here's what you need to understand. This is still a forecast, not a guarantee. Models can be wrong. Timing can shift. Snowfall totals can change dramatically based on small temperature variations. A storm that looks like 6 inches 3 days out might deliver 2 inches or 12 inches depending on track and intensity. What we can say with confidence, the pattern is shifting toward more winter weather. Arctic air is coming. The southern jet is active. Storms will develop. Where exactly and how much? That's what we'll refine over the next week. Matthew chapter 6 verse 34 says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. We prepare wisely. We don't panic. There's a difference. Practical action steps for you right now. Step 1. If you're traveling for Christmas through any area I've mentioned, monitor forecasts daily. Not just your departure city and destination, the entire route. Weather can change rapidly in winter. Step 2. Pack emergency supplies in your vehicle. Blankets, water, non-perishable snacks, flashlight, phone charger, first aid kit. If you get stranded, these items could save your life. $30 of supplies provides immense peace of mind. Step 3. Communicate with family members about travel plans. If weather deteriorates, when do you postpone? What's plan B? Having these conversations now prevents stress later. Step 4. For those in potential deep south snow areas, understand that 2 inches of snow shuts down cities that rarely see winter weather. Roads aren't treated. People don't have experience driving in snow. Stay home if possible when winter weather hits. Step 5. Stock your pantry before December 26th. Not panic buying. Reasonable preparation. If storms disrupt travel and deliveries for even 2 days, you want options. 3 days of food and water is standard emergency preparedness for any situation. Try this week. Complete those 5 steps by Christmas Day. That gives you preparation in place before any storms arrive. Proactive beats reactive. Here's what the models aren't showing, but I'm watching carefully. The GFS model, America's primary weather model, doesn't show the deep south snow event yet. It shows similar western conditions. Active atmospheric river, feet of mountain snow, but for the east, it shows multiple smaller systems affecting the mid-Atlantic, northeast, Midwest, and Great Lakes. Not the big deep south storm. When models disagree, that tells us uncertainty is high. The European showing it first could mean it sees something the GFS doesn't, or it could be too aggressive. We'll know more in 48 to 72 hours as both models update. What they both agree on: active weather pattern after Christmas, multiple storm systems, temperature swings, Arctic air arriving by month's end. The temperature swings are violent. Christmas Day, 20 to 40 degrees above normal in many areas. December 29th, 10 to 15 degrees below normal. That's a 30 to 50 degree temperature swing in 4 days. Your body will feel this. Joint pain increases. Blood pressure fluctuates. Sleep disrupts. People over 45 notice these swings more acutely because you've experienced more atmospheric cycles. Your body has learned to respond to pressure changes. That's not weakness. That's accumulated sensitivity. Honor what your body tells you. The warmth Christmas week gets rejected after the holiday. Cold air tries to push in, but the southern jet continues pumping warmth into the southeast, creating a battle zone. Cold air has to work around persistent warmth rather than pushing straight through. This creates complex weather patterns where small shifts change outcomes dramatically. Now, let me show you something that gives me hope for January and February. The European weekly model, which looks weeks ahead in 7-day increments, shows the cold signals strengthening as we move deeper into winter. First week of January still shows warmth, averaging out the brief cold shots. But second week of January, blues appear, below normal temperatures across significant portions of the east. Mid to late January, the blues intensify and expand. More areas, colder departures. This continues into February on the current model run. That suggests we're not just getting brief Arctic blasts, we might be entering a sustained pattern change. Long-range models typically struggle to show cold until it's imminent. The fact that this model shows it weeks in advance is noteworthy. It suggests strong atmospheric signals driving the pattern, not just random fluctuations. What creates sustained cold in the east? Usually a combination of factors: polar vortex disruption, blocking patterns near Greenland, La Niña or neutral Pacific conditions. All of these appear to be lining up for mid to late January. The polar vortex, that area of low pressure and cold air circling the North Pole, shows signs of weakening in some model runs. When it weakens or splits, Arctic air escapes to lower latitudes. That's what happened in January 2014, when much of America experienced historic cold. Are we heading for a repeat? Too early to say with certainty. But the ingredients are assembling. Romans chapter 8 verse 28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Even in challenging weather, we trust that everything serves a purpose in the larger design. Winter weather serves critical purposes. Snowpack in mountains provides water supply for spring and summer. Cold temperatures kill insects and diseases that would otherwise devastate crops. Ice and snow replenish aquifers and wetlands. Nature requires these seasonal cycles. The discomfort we feel is temporary. The benefits to ecosystems last months and years. Here's the perspective shift that changes everything. Stop seeing winter weather as disruption and start seeing it as necessary reset. Modern life expects perpetual comfort, stable temperatures, clear roads, uninterrupted schedules. But nature operates on different principles. Seasons change, weather fluctuates, life adapts. Our grandparents understood this. They prepared for winter, knowing it would bring challenges. They stocked pantries in autumn. They gathered firewood. They accepted that December through February required different behaviors than June through August. We can learn from that wisdom, not by rejecting modern conveniences, but by adding resilience to convenience, preparation to comfort, adaptability to routine. The coming pattern will test that resilience. Multiple storms, temperature extremes, travel disruptions, power outages possible in areas that get ice. These aren't predictions to fear. They're possibilities to prepare for. Tomorrow, I'm releasing a detailed breakdown of the January forecast beyond what we discussed today. Specific temperature patterns, storm potential by region, what the polar vortex disruption could mean. It builds on everything you learned here. This is part of understanding winter as a season, not just individual storms. Today, you learned about late December. Tomorrow covers January. The next day will extend into February and early spring transition. You're not getting isolated forecasts. You're getting strategic seasonal analysis that helps you plan weeks ahead instead of days ahead. The snowstorms we discussed today, the deep south event, the northeast systems, these are symptoms of a larger pattern shift. The shift from warmth-dominated December to cold-dominated January. From quiet weather to active weather. From hoping for snow to managing snow. For winter weather enthusiasts, this is the pivot point you've been waiting for. For those who prefer warmth, enjoy Christmas week because change is coming. Either way, preparation serves everyone. Knowledge creates options. Options reduce stress. Reduced stress improves decision-making. That's practical wisdom. Psalm 37 verses 23 and 24 say, "The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand." When storms come, we don't face them alone. Preparation plus faith equals resilience. You came here looking for weather information. You're leaving with a complete strategic understanding of the next 2 weeks and beyond. 3 major storm dates, deep south snow potential, northeast double hit, January cold signal, all connected pieces of one larger pattern. Tonight, complete those 5 action steps. Check your travel plans, pack emergency supplies, stock your pantry, communicate with family, monitor forecasts daily. Tomorrow, come back for the January deep dive. We'll take everything learned today and extend it 4 to 6 weeks into the future. Long-range indicators, pattern evolution, what to watch as winter progresses. This is how you transform from reactive to proactive. From surprised by weather to anticipating weather. From disrupted by storms to prepared for storms. The forecast continues to evolve. The models will update twice daily. Some details will change, but the overall pattern is clear. Winter is arriving with force after Christmas. Share this information with people who need to hear it. Your family traveling for the holidays. Your neighbors in potential storm zones. Your church community. Knowledge shared is impact multiplied. Stay safe, stay prepared. And remember, no matter what weather develops, we navigate it together with wisdom, preparation, and faith. God bless you all.